looking at in this review?
Well, it was slightly unexpected, but remember that Moody's has us 2 notches above sub-investment grade, so they will have a bit of space if you like. What the review is about, however, is that they will come to South Africa, they will meet government, they will meet trade unions, they will meet business, they will meet academics and others in order to collect enough information to decide whether they should leave us where we are or whether they should downgrade us by 1 or 2 notches, depending on their assessment. So this is an opportunity for South Africa to actually demonstrate that we are indeed resilient. We do have a story to tell. We've gone through tough times, but we have a plan to get out of it.
So your optimism since your budget speech continues, and yet there are those detractors. There are people in certain quarters that say junk status is inevitable. How do you respond to that argument?
Oh, it's very simple. People like us, and there are many in the country, want optimism and they want hope. And we will try our best right until the end. And if we fail, it shouldn't be because we haven't tried.
So worst case scenario, you fail, there's a downgrade. Is that the end of the world?
But that's not really the issue. The issue is to persuade the world, as Labour, business and government and other constituencies, that we're not an unstable country overall, that we have many good things going for us, that we have some world-class features. We're the best organized and most sophisticated economy on the African continent, notwithstanding the fact that we might be number 2 in size at the moment. And as proud South Africans, we must tell the world that. And you can see the kind of joint delegation we have here in New York, business, labor and government, and they're all determined to tell the world, very frankly, yes, we've got troubles, our growth is too low, we need to do much better as a country and as stakeholders to create more jobs, create more hope, remove people from poverty, reduce unemployment, but all of that can only happen if we grow the economy, invest in our economy, remove the constraints like electricity, which is a serious constraint on our economy.
Let's talk about those specifics. I mean, at the end of the day, this is about the government balance sheet and the government's debt ratio, the debt to GDP ratio. You talked about fiscal consolidation, acceleration in infrastructure development, energy investment, among a host of other measures within the framework of the NDP. Is that message resonating with the people you're talking to here?
The message is resonating, but what they want is concrete proof that we're doing something to move in the direction. In other words, I think even in South Africa, we don't want to hear about more plans and more policies. What we want to hear is things are actually being done. And in our conversations back home, we are identifying many short-term projects to demonstrate both to ourselves and to our partners around the world that we are moving in a different and better direction, which will begin to bear fruit over the next year or so.
Clearly a visit like this has very clear benchmarks. What does a successful Pravin Gordhan visit to London, Boston and New York look like when you are back in South Africa?
Oh, one, that we've been able to share a different kind of insight into what South Africa is today. Secondly, to demonstrate to the people we meet that we are a very determined group of people to do better than we are doing at the moment. Thirdly, to earn their confidence that we can deliver on what we've been actually talking about. But fourthly, to also understand their concerns and their observations about our economy, our politics, and the way we talk as South Africans and do ourselves down.
Moody's, in their note, spoke about the negative outlook which they placed South Africa on in December. They say there's been a deterioration since then. They talk about 0.5% growth this year, which really won't do anything to dent unemployment and really help us achieve inclusive growth. Minister, can you tell us, have we reached the bottom?
It's hard to say, but let's look at the top. That's far more important. And let's put into practice the things that we said we would do. So, remove policy uncertainty. The President convened a meeting of the Investment Committee in Cabinet last Friday. And there's a list of issues like the minerals bill, the uncertainty around maybe water licenses being issued, the bureaucracy and red tape in government. Now, all of those things are doable things within our ability. Let's do those things, remove the uncertainty, remove the red tape, invite investment both from South Africans and from foreigners as well, and we would have taken one big step. Secondly, demonstrate that we're willing to deal with some of the problems in our state-owned companies. And that also begins to create confidence that we are stabilizing Eskom. We are willing to allow some level of private sector or other investment funds participation in some of the ventures that we have. And that on the energy side in particular, we do have a plan that will take us off the bottom in 18 months.
Parliamentarians discussed your budget in Parliament yesterday. Some have criticised your absence. What's your response to them?
No, I think that's rather unfortunate. I've spoken to Mr. Mania and explained to him that we had to come here now, and having the Deputy Minister there is, as a representative of the ministry, is a voice right there in Parliament to explain what government's intent is. And there are times when we'll have to split our responsibilities and look after